Hello, everyone. It's me, Butterfly Spirit 314. So, guys, today I was doing a little bit of reading and I was doing some reflecting over the anger book that I finished. And, I found myself reflecting back over that memory I had of my mom locking my brother and my sister out when I was a teenager. And when I thought about that event that happened, from that instance, I didn't think that I learned anything in that event, but I now realize that I did. What I learned how to do from that event with my mom is I learned how to distance myself from people. So I learned when you have an argument with somebody or what somebody else may call a disagreement, I learned it's okay to distance yourself from people. And it might even go as far as it's okay to distance myself from people and even, ask people to leave, right? And I learned that from when I was a teenager, right? And, I found myself thinking about it today and saying, was there any other instances when I was growing up that I seen family members distance themselves from each other? And there are memories I have of seeing my family members do just that. I seen I seen the instance where my mom, there was a situation where my mom and I had went out of town to visit my aunt. And this is when I think I was like 5 years old. And I can't remember how old my brother was. My brother was, of course, older than me. He might have been maybe 10 years old, and I was 5. And then my mom was with us and stuff, and we came to stay with my auntie, uh, who lived out of town in another state. And one day, my brother and I were playing around in my auntie's living room, and we ended up breaking a piece of glass off of my auntie's chandelier. And of course, my auntie was mad when she came home that her chandelier, a part of her chandelier was broken. Now, the piece on the chandelier could have been fixed, and my mom offered to fix it, And at the time, my mom was looking for a job because we had just moved out of town, and my mom was she was looking for a place for us to live, and then she was looking for a job and stuff, trying to get us set up out of town where my aunt lived. Okay, and my auntie was my mom's sister. It was my auntie. Yeah, my auntie was my mom's older sister. Okay, one of her older sisters. And so, out of anger, my auntie basically, she basically, you know, distanced herself from my mom and me and my brother by actually using her anger and the frustration she had relating to the chandelier to tell us to leave. And mind you, my mom was looking for a job and she was also looking for a place. And it wasn't like my mom was planning on staying at my aunt's house for a long time. She was in the process of looking, and also we were going to school from my aunt's house as well. And so the thing is about that instance is that, do you know that me seeing that instance transpire between, my mom and my auntie, and it wasn't a situation where I was directly looking at it. I probably did see the circumstance. And I think my auntie gave my mom a few days, but she told my mom that we had to leave. Right. Luckily, my mom ended up finding a place within, like, I think it was like maybe 3 days or something. My mom ended up finding an apartment for us and then a job and stuff, which was good, you know. But I learned about distance. I learned that when you have a argument with somebody or disagreement with somebody, I learned that you distance yourself from them. And you guys may say, well, distance. What I learned about is to physically distance yourself, because when my auntie did that and she kicked us out from her house, what ended up happening is that as a result of that, I haven't talked to my auntie in like decades. And I'm in my 30s. And I was 5 years old at the time. Okay? So what people don't realize is when you distance yourself from family over anger, people may not, people may choose not to have a relationship with you. With my auntie, I haven't talked to her in decades. I literally have not. Just because of that. I think my auntie had sent me a card, I think, after I graduated, when I graduated from high school, but I never wrote back. And the reason is because she kicked us out of her house. And also, I don't believe that my aunt had ever apologized to my mom. And for many of you who may not know this, my mom had passed away some years ago. And when my mom's funeral came around, the same auntie that kicked us out, she didn't come to my mom's funeral. And this is the issue that happens when when we get angry with people. Sometimes we'll lose relationships with people in our family over this stuff. And like I said, I haven't talked to my mom's sister, in a long time. I did see my mom's sister when I visited her and her husband when my grandma was alive and stuff. And that was when I was probably like maybe 11 or 12 years old. But, that one interaction when I was a kid, and it wasn't like my auntie didn't try to reach out, but to me, like, why am I going to reach out to you if you told us to leave out of anger, and my auntie valued a piece of a chandelier that my mom offered to fix over the relationships with us. And I don't think she realized that. I don't think my auntie realized that at all. And part of me, I realized that what I can do is I can actually, I could pick up the phone and call my auntie, and talk with her. I don't have her number, but I could call. I think my auntie is probably in her 70s at this point, but the thing is, I do have the option of calling her, and stuff. I do have that. But not many people are that lucky to be able to do that. Since it's been years, I think I can try to build a relationship with my auntie. Hopefully, it'll be a lasting relationship, because she is older. So I don't know how much time she has, and things, because she lost her husband last year. No, she lost her husband early this year. And so, I don't know how she's doing or anything like that. But, guys, anger is real, and I seen, my mom, basically, a couple of my mom's other siblings distanced themselves from her, to the point where, they wouldn't talk for years, and that's what I learned about conflict. And when I've had arguments, with my previous partner, when I have arguments with him, I would wonder, like, and I came to this realization today that the reason that I may sit across the room, I might be on the right side of the room, and then he may be on the left side of the room, is because it goes back to that instance when I was a teenager. When I was asking my mom to let my brother and my sister in, when my mom had locked my brother and sister out, Guess what? Guess who was on the guess who was on the right side of the room and who was on the left side of the room? My mom. So in that instance, right? And at the time, my mom had lived in, we had lived in an apartment with my mom. So, you know, when my previous partner and I would argue, okay, I would be on the right side of the room, he'd be on the left. Okay. And in the instance with my mom, seeing that situation transpire, right? Guess what? I was on the right side of the room. My mom was on the left side of the room. Shocking, right? How subconsciously, here it is, years later, I'm repeating a pattern of distance, right? Even to the point where I'm on the right side of the room, he's, and he was on the left. Just like my mom was on the left side of the room and I was on the right side of the room trying to reason with her. You get what I'm saying? So it's interesting that, even where we may place ourselves versus somebody else when we're in disagreement with them, that we're subconsciously acting out the same thing. We don't know it, but it's happening. And I just came to that realization today and I was like, seriously? And what I'm going to be working on doing, guys, is I'm going to be working on this where, I come up with ways to no longer um, model these patterns. And you guys may be guilty of this too. There may be things you might be acting out from your childhood that you saw, and you might be subconsciously doing it, not being aware that it's actually happening, And it is sad, guys. I mean, in my family, that people will distance themselves from each other and not talk for years. It is sad that happens. But, the only way to change it is to do something about it. The way to try to salvage a relationship with my aunt is for me to reach out to her and talk with her and try to build a relationship with her and not let the past generate my future. Not let the relationship my mom had with my aunt, have a bearing on the relationship that I have with my aunt, So, I'm going to be, trying to do what I can. I'm going to ask my cousin for my auntie's number and see if I can reach out to her and just give her a call. Maybe I can give her a call tomorrow and or within the next few days here and just see how she's doing, and let her get to know me. In a way, it can heal. It may not heal the relationship between my mom and my aunt, but it may do something where maybe it'll help me to heal, and it heals, the genetics of my family, because then people can see that you don't have to distance yourself, for years at a time. You know, Another reason I know distance occurs in my family is because I see it with my siblings. There is a time with my siblings where, you know, my brother became angry at my sister and they had an argument, and my brother literally didn't talk to my sister for like a year, you know? So guys, that's literally a thing, guys. It's literally a thing where distance can happen, and it can happen, and sometimes unless somebody else kind of jumps in and intervenes, in my family, people may never talk to each other, but luckily my brother and my sister are talking to each other, which is really good. They don't talk all the time, because they're grown, they have their own lives and stuff, but still, I'm glad at least they have a relationship with each other, and I have a relationship with them where I could talk with them. Do we get along all the time? No. But I think it's the fact that, working on my anger is actually unpacking a lot more than I thought possible. And it's teaching me things about, you know, just, patterns, dealing with, communication and conversations and, emotions that have been surfacing around my family where other people may not have even known or be aware of things or just kind of acting things out, you know? So I want to thank you guys for listening to me today. And maybe this might inspire you guys to maybe look into your anger and maybe reflect and think about the fact of if maybe you're modeling some patterns from your past. Maybe you're expressing anger like your parents did, and you may not be aware of it, but you might be doing it, and doing that could be working against you, you know? So, thank you for watching. Bye.